you need to be really getting to know these men, ladies, before we are jumping into bed, let alone jumping into bed, but having kids with them. What is going on, my loves? It is your girl Ash here, and as always, welcome or welcome back. Tonight we're doing another good old recap, Teen Mom 2, and episode is You Don't Cry in Football or something of that nature. Either way, these moms got enough stumbling blocks going on with them. Like, everybody is getting over humps, hurdles in regards to life, relationships, parenting. So getting into episode 6, there's no crying in football. Let's see here where we're at. Ashley. Let's talk about Ashley and Bar. So basically, Bar is coming up on his court case, and this alone is just the DUI court case. This is not even the court case that for the charge where he was shooting a gun around their home, surrounding their home, whatever that situation was at her it was like graduation party. That's just that. A case that's been going on for years now, a couple of years. I think Ashley said like 2 or 3 years, and basically Ashley's over it. She's ready for them to figure out what they're going to do. And of course, Barb's like, I mean, I get it. You're over it. I'm over it. I'm ready for them to just, whatever. I think they were basically going to give him, if he did do time, I think he would have to serve. Or did he end up doing time already? Because I felt like he ended up doing, I may be getting this mixed up, but no, I feel like he was talking about something about 15 days. Maybe he had to serve 15 days, but that's just to go show how long that this has been going on, how long they've been talking about this. Like, what, again, like he said, like, I don't want to, like, I didn't murder anyone. This is just a DUI. And it's not to say that that's not a serious situation, because he very well could have hurt someone, but it's like, are y'all waiting? Like, because it seems like he's on probation at the same time. So are y'all waiting for him to mess up just so that y'all can add that on? Which he did end up messing up with the whole gun situation. So I think overall for their relationship is Ashley feels like because they're in the unknown, that I don't know of what's going to happen in court, they're not able to move forward fully and be able to commit, especially like to counseling. There's been a big thing last episode. They agreed that they want to, of course, try to work it out, that counseling was going to be the next go round, see how that works for them. And Ashley, they feel like Ashley feels like they can't get committed to that because they don't know what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. So all in all, basically, I think it ended up basically where he could either do a work program, or basically he would do end up serving the time like straight away, or doing weekends or something or rather eat. So whatever. Either, of course, he chose the latter of, while granted, of course, he don't want to be picking up garbage on the side of the road, whatever. But that beats being away from home, being away from your family, having to explain to Holly now, like, what's going on, because had mentioned that how thus far he hasn't had to talk to Holly about this situation. He hasn't had to bring it to her attention. So that it's kind of like a saving grace for you, like that's like a saving face. You get to, like, low key to a degree save face in that situation. And this little old Holly, first off, let's talk about Holly. Holly is the cutest thing. She's cute as a button. Talk about, like, do not, that's Pastor T. That's Miss T, granddaughter to the fullest. She looking just like her. Oh my gosh. So with um at least with that being out there with him, I think, I guess, like I said, I think he of course has an option, that does leave room for them, that does leave room to be able to move and figure out how they want to just do. But like I said, this is just the beginning of one thing. He still has another charge that's still pending. And what are they going to do with that? What are they going to do about that? So I think this is part of the things that Ashley is talking about when she's, with Bar or whatever, whatnot. Not just, getting motivated and doing stuff, but stop doing the stupid stuff that's getting you in situations where you're having to go to court, and then it's being continued, and it's taking over time, because that that time period that they're having to deal with the court is affecting their real life. So it's like, yeah, like I really hope Bar sees these as lesson learned, especially now that his marriage at one point was up in the air, to be able to just focus and just like get on the right track already. Just that's all I can say, is just hopefully just to get on the right track. So that's their stumbling block or whatever. Let's see. Brianna's stumbling block. So let's hit down memory lane, because I like this little health issue that Stella is having. It was like, but she was. I remember when it had brought memories to basically when Brianna had spent that amount of time. I do believe that was her in the hospital with her, for like days or whatever or whatnot, and so basically, Stella was born with two holes in her heart or whatever or whatnot. And but here lately, she has had been complaining or suffering from, saying her heart was hurting, or that it was just beating too fast, or that it's beating real fast. And talk about scary stuff. Like, Stella is all of a toddler, turning 5, just starting school. Like, she's already so young, and already so young, she's already, uh, you know, um, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say accomplished, but she's risen from so much that was given to her, health wise, and she's just a beautiful little girl. So of course, when this happens, Brianna is pulling out, like, we're gonna like get this looked at, when they scheduled up an appointment, and which they went to the ER, and then that ended up with them sending her to a cardiologist. Great thing is she ended up being seen, is she's going to be seen by the cardiologist that had seen her before as a baby. So that kind of always like feels good, even if you haven't seen them for a long time. When you feel like you've been seen by the doctor, they have your medical records, they have that history of you. It's not feeling like you have to start all over from the beginning, and catching these people up to the speed of what's going on. So the heartbreaking part of that, in addition to this scare in Stella's heart, is, of course, we call Lewis to get him informed, to get him to go. And Lewis doesn't want to go because he doesn't want to be around the cameras and the filming. And here's the Libra part of me, y'all. Here's the Libra part of me, and don't beat me up. Don't comfort me. Don't beat me up so bad. Part of me, the first part of me was just like, what? Like, you're not, like, you showed up when the camera, maybe, hey, maybe you didn't know, I don't know, but you showed up on the first day of school, the cameras were around. What has changed? What is now going on that all of a sudden you now don't want to show up for the doctor's appointment if Stella is there? I mean, if the cameras are there. To a degree, you don't even know if, like, we did not even get in on the appointment. We were not there for the appointment. So it's literally to say is, you shied away from these cameras, and we weren't even getting to be included in what happened in the actual doctor's office with them. But the Libra part of me, seeing it from both sides, the other part of me was just like, okay, Brianna, can you just, trying to at least just giving him a chance. I think that's maybe is what it is. And it's still like, why should Brianna have to do this? At the end of the day, this is her job. This is how she gets paid in her other, form of income. Like, just, I was like, okay, well, Brianna, why, can you, don't film, or can you, just put it to the side for this one moment, just so that he could have, like, so it's literally just like, somebody has to be uncomfortable, or somebody has to make the sacrifice for the other parent, or basically for them both to be able to be around or in the same space. And it was just like, yeah, like, for real, that is what parenting looks like a lot of the times. Like, somebody, one parent or the other, making a sacrifice or whatnot. If it's fair, both parents make a sacrifice, in some way or shape or form. And then as well, again, it was just like, well, why does Brianna have to make these accommodations to make him feel comfortable? Your daughter is having a life, possibly life threatening issue, and you're concerned about the cameras being around. And of course, they felt like it's an excuse. And so I completely understand that. And I think um, everybody, like it's everybody was just so worried about Stella. Like like even Nova, even little baby Nova. Like when she was telling her, when Brianna was telling her about what was to happen and what was going on with Stella, she just looked so worried. I tell you, like our babies, our little young kids, I feel like they take so much on these days. Like sometimes what we give them is sometimes we don't necessarily give them, but it's just like, why, Lewis? Like, why can't you get it? Why can't you, like, what is it about you that's not like just clicking? Like, what is it but I realized that even with dealing with my own struggles with co-parenting and support or whatever or whatnot, what I realize is, you know, and while it can very well be an excuse and very well not be an excuse, but at the same time, once you get grown, it's kind of like you have to start realizing these things and fixing it so that you can now be a better parent to your child and not bring on those traumas. Lewis can't be only, Lewis can only be the parent that he's going to be. And I just mean that to say, as he learned this behavior from someone, from this is a learned behavior. Unfortunately, he's giving what he was given, and that happens a lot more times than not. I'm not saying all the times, but majority of the time, when I when there is, we inflict our own traumas. We inflict our own traumas onto our kids, basically. And basically, yeah, so I believe that he's doing as best as he can, because that's all he knows, that's all he knows to do. It sucks because it hasn't clicked in him. Nobody has been able to pull him that's really of value to be like, all right, look, and I say of value because clearly, like, I'm pretty sure he's being dogged out by everybody, but I mean people of value, somebody that knows him, or especially like a male role model, to be able to pull you by your curtail and be like, hey, this is, nah, I gotta check you on this, brother. I love you, but this is where I gotta check you. Like, and it sucks because Brianna is, she does end up doing all this and handling all this alone or whatever, when it's kind of like her children's fathers get to pick and choose when they want to show up and when they want to show up and be parents. So when her mom is just like, like, I think she was basically saying, to the degree of her having a lot on her plate, and just being stressed out, and she's like, I'm okay, and she's like, but you're not, but you're not. And Brianna, like, we have to let go of that strong, being that strong person all the time. Yeah, it's okay to be the strong around the whatever, but when you get behind those closed doors, when you put those kids to bed, and when you close your door at night, you better be giving yourself some type of moment, because no, it's not okay. And if you need to cry it out, if you need to, like, do that, whatever it is, to get out those emotions, because it's not okay. And for her to just say that, I am, no, you're not. More reason why Brianna needs to be in therapy, so she can be really getting that stuff out. Because to a degree, it's like making her hard. I can only imagine how hard it's making her, and for her, resentment. And it sucks. I feel for her. I can relate to her, and just because I can relate does not mean that my dynamic is necessarily hers or the same as hers. So that's just to say that. But of course, where the results, when they look, check out Stella. She seems to be, everything, seems to be okay, seems to be doing okay. But basically what they end up doing is now she has to wear a heart monitor for about a month. Only time she could take it off is when she's like in the shower, or getting in the tub, and that's it. To sleep every day with this heart monitor. And I'm like, this little Stella's like 4 or 5 years old, and That's just a lot. That's just a lot. That's a lot. So getting on to Jade. Whew, so Jade is dealing with basically now she just has the pressure kind of like Brianna. Again, just different dynamic. She has, she's handling everything. She's dealing with a lot. Sean is, still in rehab, um, and which his program that he's in, I guess, is expected to be over soon. But the counselors, I guess, are more encouraging that he stay longer, for a longer period. And I think she was saying that he kind of as well feels the same way. But it's a little bit of hesitation because Jade has a lot on her plate with it just being her, working, taking care of Chloe. And, she's, just bought a new home. They're trying to move into a new home. I get it. She's definitely got a lot on her plate. But to feel like her and Child to even have a hint at the conversation of him coming home just so that he can help her. What's more important, his sobriety or him coming here to help you because you're in a little bit of a struggle right now? Because your situation is a temporary situation. The fact of the matter is, his time as an addict. I may not be saying it right. It's kind of like you'll always be an addict. It's just your sobriety is what you kind of you kind of mainly hit on or whatever or whatnot. And it's kind of just like when you know that the struggle that he's gone through, and I think this is not his first time, being into therapy, and they feel like, and he feels like that he needs this more time, don't make that man choose or feel like he needs to choose or that you need him so much more than his sobriety. Because what's going to happen is he's going to come home early and then he's going to end up going back and you're going to be alone again. You might as well let the man stay and get get better. And it's not even to say that him spending this extra time here is going to, fix it or he's that to the point that he's never going to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Relapse. It's not to say that he's not going to relapse again, but it's like give that man the best shot possible. But nonetheless, they he does have a visit, so they get the chance to go and visit him. But that automatically as well didn't start off right because and I think I kind of we kind I not we I've as well whatever we've seen this before, on these shows where someone may be like a rehab or it's like a rehabilitation show, whatever the case may be, is basically there may be certain like stipulations that they kind of want you to stand by or stick by in order to help the person in recovery. So the counselor was really just sticking it to her to basically stick to him that it's important for him to stay. He doesn't need to come home because obviously, yes, when he sees them, he's gonna all that stuff is gonna come rushing, and being home is probably gonna seem like the better route. But we want to him to stick with his sobriety. We want him to get back healthy, so they're pushing her, to this is the side that you're on and kind of not the flip flop. And it did kind of sound like pressure. So especially when Jay wants him home. And I need Jade to see both sides here and not just her side of having like this is where you have to suck it up, unfortunately, because this is where the part where you chose this. You knew that Sean was an addict before having Chloe. So while we didn't might not have thought this long run, this is this is the type of things that when you're healthy and when you're healed from things, these are things that you might think about going prior to. So maybe not always necessarily, and I don't mean to put that on her because kind of like at the end of the day, we in a way all these mom shows, including me, all of us. Who, in some way, matter of fact, everybody in life, in some way, you have chosen something that's put you in the predicament that you are in. So, nonetheless, because I ain't gonna stay on that too long. So, um, it looks like it's going to be a good visit. It looks like we're not going to get more into that visit until, next episode. So I think it was just very cute though how Chloe just kept like you could tell how so happy she was, to see him. Like she just kept looking at him, just embracing him, just looking at him like I just missed this face, I just missed your face. And Sean looks good. Sean looks healthy. And so just seeing that, like we want that to keep going. We want that for Sean. Um, Leah, I'd say Leah's biggest stumbling block right now is her and Jalen. Of course, are they're really getting into this relationship. He's met the girls, and they've been doing this long distance thing, but it looks like they're trying to basically he has kind of like more of an openness where he has is able to kind of get closer to her, so he does have a job opportunity, but the job is still 2 hours away from where she is. And while Jalen is just like 2 hours away is better than eight, Leah is just like distance is distance. Long distance relationship is long distance relationship. And ideally, that's not what she wanted. She is kind of just like, okay, well, what? Okay, so do you not want him to accept the job and to go back to Atlanta? And him, he's kind of just like, I don't really think you realize how, yes, you, yes, it is still travel, distance, but it's not that much distance. And Leah's, being like, I'm a mom. I can't just pick up. And it's just kind of like, she basically feels like if we were going to be doing something, why, if you were going to be moving closer, basically this is pointless. Basically, this whole him moving 2 hours away from her is still pointless because he's not going to be closer because it's still going to be in the way having the same issues as far as traveling and seeing each other and just not being able to just boom 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 just and get up with each other or get up and see each other or whatever. I don't know. I don't want that's. I don't really have much for Leah and Jalen. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I think I think I see. I think what it, all in all of it is, I can see it on both ends for the both of them. At the end of the day, granted, was me for me 2 hours like it's nothing. Like that's how I was when I lived in Virginia, and I was like, if I was in North Carolina, every chance that I get, like I loved like. I would kill that road. I would kill it. I would kill 85. I would kill 85. So really it definitely sounds like they it's something for them to figure out, and from the looks of it, they it's gonna get figured out. So all right, which one of our mamas is next, and did we hit on everyone? All right, so let's talk about Kaylin definitely. I tell you, if you don't learn anything, like you should learn something from these moms, okay? You should be learning something. And especially one thing you should learn is you need to be finding out what, and even preaching to the choir here, okay? Preaching to the choir. You need to be really getting to know these men, ladies, before we are jumping into bed, let alone jumping into bed, but having kids with them. When Caitlyn says that basically her and Javi are, at basically, yeah, that's what it was. Linking is her easiest child because her and Javi have, um, are have a lot of likeness, and when it comes to their parenting and how they're going to parent. You don't realize how much or what type of deep mess or what you're getting yourself into until you have a child and you realize that your parenting styles are different. You don't like the way that other person parents. What what they see as support, the role that they feel like they're gonna play, all that plays a factor in things that a lot of us women don't talk about with, because one, half the time we're probably not even thinking about it as far as even having a kid with them, though we're choosing to have sex with them um with no protection. But that's for a whole nother, like, I'm just here to do the recap. I ain't even here to do this little I don't know what I would call that, but if y'all would like to get some advice or just hear my little spills on some of this stuff, baby, I got that. But like, her and Joe are always in that up and down, while her and Javier are always up and down. Like she said, they are always on the straight and narrow because they want the same thing. And then of course Chris, on the other hand, they're never on they're not on the same page. They can barely even communicate. So it's kind of like him and Joe are like here, like neck and neck as far as like the parenting, the co-parenting wise or whatever. Though I think her and Joe are probably much better than her and Chris or whatever, whatnot. But so that's over with. It sounds like the podcast, the Baby Mamas with Dramas with V, that's definitely over. And so, really, I feel like that's really that. It's usual. Like, Kaylin has enough baby daddies, enough babies to keep her busy. And I'm not saying that just to throw shade, but it's literally just like Kale doesn't even have to have anything going on. Just her baby daddies and the kids. All her, like that. That's all that needs to be her storyline, because they are. That's enough right there. Like, so what else was going on with Kale? That was going on. Just you know, so the whole caption of the name of the show was about Lux, and Lux is basically playing football, and he's just in the car having like many little like meltdowns. It wasn't a full meltdown, it was like a mini meltdown about not playing football or playing football or whatever or whatnot. And he's like, I don't want to play football, I don't want to play football, mom. And it was like he tricked himself. He's like, I want to play football. And he's like, wait a minute, realize he was like, no, I don't want to play football. Like, it's like at the end of the day, you know, you signed up for this, you're committed, we're gonna stick it through. You don't want to play cool, you could just sit on the bench, but at the end of the day, we are gonna go. And with that, she talks about with some of her podcast crew how she's because it sounds like she is practicing it, gentle parenting. And this gentle parenting definitely has started to come up on my radar, and I didn't realize that it was necessarily gentle parenting, but I realized I was starting to want to change how I parented my kids, as far as just like the yelling and hollering at them, especially when I know they're having home moments. And them and I think I followed this I think she's a child counselor, psychologist, or whatnot, and she also has a podcast, and she calls it yuck. She calls it yuck. She's like, when your child is in yuck, and when you're in yuck, your yuck is what's impounding on their yuck, and it's because you're in yuck that you're going off on them, basically, kind of stuff. But that's just used as an example, the yuck, to kind of like get what yuck means or whatever or whatnot. But a lot of stuff that I had just heard from her, from her emails, and listening to some of her YouTubes or podcasts. And then as well, just realizing my own traumas, just realizing how I communicate, how that could be impacting my kids. It made me just be aware, and I was like, okay, this time I'm going to just try to be more better to communicate. And lo and behold, that's called gentle parenting. And I'm not even going to get all into it, because I don't. It's not something that I'm saying, hey, I'm gentle parenting, or it's not something I'm necessarily promoting, or I'm to the point, but I know exactly what it is too. I think I have an idea of it. So if that's definitely something, to look into, if that's something that you're curious. But like I said, Kale definitely just has, enough, has her hands full with all her boys, and then plus the baby daddies. That I didn't hit on everybody. I think we got everybody right. That's how it right. We talked about Ashley. We talked about Jade. We talked about Leah. Oh yes, and we talked about Kale. So I'd say that that's everybody. So all right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this recap. Definitely drop some comments below. Let me talk to me. Let's talk about this week's episode, and of course, give this a thumbs up so you can make sure that you and her friend 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 get a chance to see this video. And as always, you definitely want to subscribe so you can always be back with me weekly as I do these weekly videos, and as well got some vlogs coming for ya. So definitely stay tuned for that as we do here in the land of Ash, where it's my land and I do what I want. Okay, so all right, y'all, I'm out of here.